Hello and welcome back into the FCS Huddle. I'm Elliot Schall with the FCS Senior Editor for Stats, Craig Haley, and we've been talking a lot of FCS football as we do each week. And you know, one thing that it goes into a lot of the rankings is how teams do outside of the FCS. And we've had nearly 100 FCS FBS matchups this season, and really it's telling on how teams can succeed. You know, and one team that has really stuck out in some of these matchups is Portland State. Now, how are the Vikings getting it done?
You're right. I mean, 8 wins so far for the FCS over the FBS. 2 of them by Portland State. I mean, they opened the year beating Washington State last year. Last weekend they throttled North Texas 66-7 to get 2 in one season. Phenomenal. It's the first time since 2006 when North Dakota State did it. Just great for Bruce Barnum, their interim coach, and the Vikings. 8 wins this year. I mean, I think it's the same as last year. 2 years ago, there was 16. That was just a phenomenal benchmark that may never be topped. But 8 so far, a few matchups to go, a handful. Bucknell at Army West Point is next. Mm-hmm.
All right, so you look at all these big FBS, FCS matchups, and one FBS conference that has really had a lot of success this season is the Big Ten, who apparently is going to be ending their run playing teams from the FCS. How is that going to affect the future of the FCS?
Well, I mean, the Big Ten, took a stance within recent years saying they don't want to play FCS. I mean, they're not obligated to do it.
Right.
They don't have to fund the budgets for FCS schools. I mean, playing FBS really, is a good payday, but FBS teams are not obligated to do it. I think the whole college football playoff on the FBS end factors in. I mean, you want to have a strong
schedule.
Yes, no doubt. And some of the other power conferences may follow through. I mean, they haven't quite so far. I just think. A game like Wagner, BYU, that's upcoming, really not necessary. A game like Portland State, North Texas, that's competitive. That's very valid.
Right.
So, we'll see what happens in the future. The Big Ten, the only one taking that stand.
And I understand the whole strength of schedule and everything, but from the FCS standpoint, I look at it as an opportunity for some of these guys who didn't really get a crack at playing for an FBS school to kind of make their mark.
Yes.
And it's just unfortunate to see that.
I mean, we've talked about having a chip on your shoulder when you play the FBS. I mean, the film that you have against FBS programs really factors in when it comes when you're trying to impress an NFL team. I mean, that's where they're going to judge you. They're going to judge you on your biggest games. And so, yes, I think it's important for FCS players and teams. It's just that the FBS really isn't obligated to play them.
Right. Okay, so let's go back to Portland State, like we talked about, a team that has had success against the FBS this season. Now, success, that's the key word right there. Would you say Cinderella has been successful this season?
I think Portland State put them over the top. For them to match last year, I think that the jury was a little bit out going into last weekend, only because the FBS teams they've been beaten haven't been powers. And not that North Texas was against Portland State, but to really gain the focus of beating 2 FBS teams in 1 year, just phenomenal. I think early in the season, the first weekend when there were 4 winners, those were a little more surprising.
Right.
The most recent ones not as surprising. Fordham, James Madison, Liberty, Portland State. Those were games you could predict that they were going to pull FBS upsets. So I do think yes. 16 was a big benchmark. 8 is totally fine.
All right, well, there you go. So Portland State is really a team that has made their mark in games against the FBS. So for more FCS, FBS writings or anything really with the FCS in general, make sure to check out the website, fcs.football. Also on Twitter, at FCS_stats. And as I always say, follow Craig Haley, at Craig Haley. That's going to do it for us today. I'm Elliot Schall. Thank you for watching.